Alright guys, welcome back to another garage video. Kind of a crappy day out, so definitely nice to be in here where it's dry. We're going to start finally, we're a little late to the game. We're going to start finally assembling this new quad. This was supposed to be the 2025 race quad, but as most of you know, we are not racing this year. We're just doing a couple. We had some health issues earlier in the year. I was out of work for 2 months, had a surgery, doing much better now, but it just made sense to just put racing on hold. Obviously I was out of work for a couple months, so financially it would have been a pretty big strain, and obviously coming back trying to get ready for the season, it would have been a waste of time, I think, to get the results that I'm used to getting. So this will be the 2026 race bike. We got most of the parts. We still do need a bunch of stuff. We got the engine over here, which is already built. I've done a bunch of shorts videos on that. We already have graphics. We got plastics up there, and then we have pretty much all of our chassis parts. We do need front shocks. We need a radiator. We need a stabilizer. We still need a good amount of stuff. We got plenty to do to get this thing going, and I'm at the point where I'm tired of staring at it. It's time to get this thing into a roller and get this thing going. Like I said, I'm really hoping that I can race next year, full season. This will be the main race quad. We still got the backup quad right there. She's solid. You can see the graphics on how it will look on the new quad. Pretty much the identical build, guys. Not much has changed. I'm still using pretty much all the same parts. We're going to run the Fox B&R springers, Hauser front end with the LTR geometry and spindles from B&R. You can see right there. We have a B&R stock revalved, resprung rear shock with his XC link right there. So it's pretty much the same setup. This is a solid setup I run, and it works good for me. So why change it? We got some parts from HMF, so a huge thank you to them. We got our heel guards, we got our exhaust. You can see I just changed these on here to new. A solid setup and priced really, really well. $350, and these things are really nice, super solid. We went with a different style exhaust for this year. So we're gonna run the round exhaust. I already got one on this quad. I believe this is the performance one. We scored this off Josh Merritt cheap, so I friggin' threw it on here. Sounds good. It is a lot louder. So if you are looking into exhausts and you want to run HMF has lots of options. I'll show you the elliptical. You can see how much wider it is. So this exhaust ends up being, it's still loud, still sounds good, but it's definitely a lot quieter compared to that. That is really loud, but it does sound good, I'm not going to lie. So we got a lot of work to do. This will probably be a multiple build series. It's all going to be time lapse. We'll kind of just run through what we've done and what's next and things like that. But I've done a bunch of these in real time, so for reference, you guys can check those videos out. This is just for entertainment, so let's get going.
coming in.
Alright guys, that's a wrap for part 1. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give you a little walk around. She's looking pretty mint. Tires are ready to go. We will do tire balls next year before race season. I just like to get these mounted and air them up so they kind of take shape. Usually when they ship these, they kind of squish them together. So they're a little deformed. So doing tire balls like that would be hell. So we always do this. Let them sit like this for a while, and then I can use these now and make this a roller, which I've already done. It's just not on video. You might have seen some pictures of it. Another thing, we got some X hubs, which these have been super hard to get, but we found these on Rocky Mountain. A lot of guys use R hubs, which is fine. You just rearrange your spacers to make those work. You want the R hub to sit right against the axle, and all your spacers will go on the end, but I prefer these. Another thing I want to show you guys quickly is these B&R carbon fiber rock guards. These things are sick, all right? So B&R now makes the caliper adapter with the mounting, I won't say hardware, but the mounting tabs cut into these brackets. So now these bolt right up. The only bad thing is the stock ones will not work, which I found that out the hard way when I went to put those on. So I talked to B&R and he said guys still use them, but you have to drill holes in those to make them work, which I'm not drilling holes in anything on this brand new quad. So we just ordered these. They're not that expensive, but these I will say are super solid. They don't move around like the stock ones, and they look trick. So I think they are well worth the money. So part 2, which will be next, will be getting the last remaining items I need to fire this girl up. We did get a brand new OEM radiator. That's on the way from Waynesburg Yamaha. Huge thanks to those guys. But we need a throttle body, and I'm debating on going with the KTM one. If you run one, let me know how it is. It is a little more expensive versus the stock board one, but I think that's the route I'm gonna go. We need a wire harness, custom cut wire harness we'll get, or custom built wire harness I should say, we'll get that. We need a vortex, and then we need an intake and air box. So for right now guys, like I'm just buying like little parts. I can kind of buy a bunch of little parts at once, but this more expensive stuff, I'm just buying like one thing at a time, you know, every few weeks, every month, whatever, you know, whenever I get a few extra bucks, you know, the YouTube money, all that stuff, I'll buy something. But obviously you guys know the vortex is 800 bucks, a wire harness is like 700 bucks, that KTM throttle body is like 900 bucks. The airbox and intake is like $450-ish, so I'll probably buy that first because that's cheap. We also need a few other items. We need this little parts tray and the coil. That's not too expensive. We're going to need an ignition switch, the dash lights, and a rectifier. So we got some money to spend. So we'll just do a little at a time, and then when we get it all, we'll work on part 2. Front shocks we're not going to do till the very end. Stabilizer very end. We need calipers front and rear. That'll be at the end. I want to get brand new OEM calipers, which are super expensive. It's like over $1,000 for all three. And I've been looking online for some nice clean used ones, and I can't find any. So if you guys have any, point me in the direction of them. Like I want nice, clean, like new. Well, if they are, let me know because I'll get them. I need brake lines, which I buy aftermarkets. Those are not too bad. So we got quite a bit to buy. But like I said, we're just going to do a couple things at a time. And like I said, the goal, part 2, is get this girl running. So as always guys, thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, it helps a ton. Drop some comments, let me know what you think about the ground up ATV build. And if you're not yet, please subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.